Hello everyone, welcome back to yet another video. We will be doing a whole month of thriller mystery reads. I don't know why I keep doing this to myself. It's so outside of my comfort zone. I also created a post on my YouTube asking you guys for some recommendations. I got some pretty good ones, and because you guys actually took the time to answer my post, your recommendations will be my priority TBR. My physical TBR will be my second. The first thriller book that I'm going to be reading is going to be on my Kindle. I just don't feel like picking up a physical copy. I'm going to choose the shortest book on here. The first book I'm going to start off with is One by One by Frida McFadden. I don't know how much I can actually read this month. I work full-time, and then every single day I have 2.5 hours of commute to do. I also go to the gym 4 times a week, and I like to go in the morning, which means the day before I have to sleep really early. I have my second job on Saturday from 4 to 11, and I gym in the morning, and Sunday is free. So it's just really chaotic and busy right now. If I can find the audiobooks, I will definitely listen to them during my commute. When they are in the car and they're at the rest stop and then something is revealed to us, that's where I'm at. So I am away for our for our anniversary. We came up north to celebrate our anniversary, and it just reminded me of the plot of One by One. So if you guys don't know, One by One is about Claire and Noah. You follow Claire's perspective. Basically, Claire and Noah have been married for a long time. They go on this trip with 2 of their friends, and you have Lindsay and I want to say Warner. Lindsay is Claire's best friend. Warner is like this perfect plastic surgeon who Lindsay just met, but he kind of gives me the same vibes as people who abuse their significant other. Like, he's very controlling, he's demeaning, and he implies stuff like she needs a boob job. The last couple is Jack and Michelle. So Jack is Noah's best friend. They go on this road trip and their car suddenly breaks down. They're stuck in the middle of nowhere. So right now where I'm at, they're walking someplace, and I think the premise is that they start disappearing one by one. I'm like trying to figure out who could be responsible, because I'm pretty sure it's someone in the circle, but they're all kind of bad people. I don't think you're made to like any of the characters. It just kind of reminded me of our road trip, because we were like driving and I was like, imagine our car breaks down, and then in the car we were listening to true crime stories, and it just reminded me of this book. I'm at page 84. I didn't realize that there's Claire's point of view and there's also an anonymous point of view. The whole time I thought I was just reading Claire's POV. So then when it switched to the anonymous, it's about a child who is psychologically abused by his or her mother, and I thought it was kind of weird because it didn't fit my image of Claire. I read a chapter about how the killer's father is a salesperson, and I remember reading that someone's father is a salesperson, either Claire or Noah. So I started flipping through the previous chapters, and then I realized it was the anonymous chapter. It was in the anonymous chapter that I read it in. I'd be really shocked if the anonymous person was Claire. I feel like it'd be rare
for the main character to be the killer. I think the most obvious person would be Warner, because he really does show signs of, I don't know if it's psychopathy or antisocial personality disorder, but something along those lines. But then I feel like he's too obvious because of that. Jack was suspicious because he knew about the nightshade berries, and the anonymous person had nightshade berries growing in their garden. My mind spins at like 1,000 miles per minute while I'm reading these books. I keep thinking it's a guy because these are kind of guy-ish activities like shooting practice, baseball, but again, a girl could just as easily adopt these hobbies. When I think of something, I would go back and check to see if anything was revealed in previous chapters. Once the anonymous child was locked in a car, this nice lady tried to help him or her, and the mom came back, and instead of saying, "What are you doing to my daughter or son?" she said, "What are you doing to my child?" So Frida's being very careful not to reveal the gender of the anonymous person. I really think we're made to think it's a guy, so we suspect Noah, Jack, or Warner, but it's actually a girl.
Charlie Brown, I can tell you what Christmas is all about.
I've read 81% of the book, and there are 42 minutes until I finish, and I've never been so confused. I still think that it could be Michelle because her body was never found, so I feel like she could be orchestrating this whole thing, and we're thinking that the only possible suspects are Jack and Noah because they're the only ones alive. It could also be Warner, but I feel like Warner is kind of irrelevant and kind of out of nowhere, and he doesn't really know these people, so why would he go through all this trouble just to kill them off? Jack said like something happened with Noah in college where his dad died, and then Noah started acting really weird, and then it switches to the anonymous POV. In that chapter, it also says that his dad died, so I'm not sure if Jack is telling the truth and it was Noah's dad who died, which matches the anonymous POV, or if it's Jack trying to convince Claire to trust him, and so he's projecting his own story onto Noah. Okay, I am actually really shocked right now. I thought I had it all figured out. I was so sure that like someone who was supposedly dead, whose body we never found, was not dead, so I was expecting someone to come back from the dead. I kept anticipating something like super crazy to happen and unrealistic. But chapter 39, right after Jack disappears, wait, is that a spoiler? Something happened, and then it says someone else is pointing a gun at his head, and then you go to the next page and it's like the new chapter, and right away you figure out who Anonymous is. And I was right about some things, not right about some other things. I feel kind of clever for figuring this out. Skip this if you guys haven't read it yet, but I knew that Frida was trying to spin the anonymous person as a boy because there was the baseball hat, there was getting bullied by boys, being close with the dad. There were just so many typical boy things and hobbies that the anonymous person liked to do. I knew that she was trying to throw us off, and I thought that it was a girl. So I thought it was Michelle. It is a girl, and it's Lindsay. It's fucking Lindsay. I'm so shocked right now. Of all people, I really did think that she was actually dead.
insane. I can't believe. Ugh.
I am not a thriller reader. This is one of my first thrillers in a really long time, and I thought it was well written. It's very fast paced, it's very edge of your seat. The language was very straightforward, it was very easy to read, it flowed very well. This one had a huge plot twist. There were 2 points to the plot twist that made it shocking. I guessed one of them. As you guys saw, I was completely blown away. Could not believe what Frida did to me. Overall, I had a good time with this. It wasn't amazing, but I did end up giving it 4 stars out of 5, so I really did enjoy it. If you just want a fun, quick read, I would suggest this book. It's time for a little update for this video. I feel like I haven't updated you guys in a really long time. I've just been so out of touch with YouTube, but I do have a lot of pre-filmed content, 30 plus videos. I wanted to tell you guys I've been reading The Perfect Child by Lucinda Berry on audiobook. I just started listening to this today actually. I'm already on chapter 13. I am really enjoying it because this one involves a child abuse and neglect. There's just something really interesting about the story. It's about a couple named Elizabeth and Christopher Bauer. One day into their hospital comes this child who is covered in blood, bruises, dirty looking, just really in bad shape. When they brought her in, they thought she was a toddler because she was just so small, but she was actually 6 years old. Her mom was killed. Where I'm at right now in the story, they decide to be an emergency foster home for her. The child takes a liking to Christopher and she absolutely adores him. He absolutely adores her, but she's very cold and distant with Hannah, and Hannah, I think, starts noticing these like very alarming, very irregular things about the child. I really like the way the book is set up. So you have Hannah's POV, you have Christopher's POV, and then you also have these little chapters. They talk about the case. So obviously something big happens and the police are investigating. I just absolutely love her writing style, the way it's set up. I love that there's chapters about the police. I love the dual POV. I knew there was something wrong with Janie. What happened with the cat? So predictable. Also, the social worker Piper, I'm pretty sure she has a mandate to go visit the family twice a month, and during her interview they were like, you didn't visit the family for 3 months, so you didn't know that this situation was going on. And she was like, no, I didn't.
Can't get you out of my head. Try to stray, try to forget, but the thoughts, they seem to drown me instead. I've always wondered.
I've been reading for 2 hours now. It's so good that I just can't put it down. I just want to know what happens in the end. I have theories. I think that Janie killed Christopher, and I think that she killed her mother, only because in the chapters that revolve around the case, you only hear from Hannah and Piper. You never hear an interview with Christopher. I don't know if I haven't gotten to it yet, or if he's just no longer there. I identify with Hannah a lot more. I feel like the emotions that she's feeling are the emotions that I'm feeling. Everything Janie is doing is clearly voluntary and purposeful. She's being a huge pain in the ass towards Hannah and Hannah alone, and Christopher's dismissing it. He's like, I don't understand why Hannah's being a child. She should be an adult. She should act like an adult. Christopher is starting to get on my nerves. I'm like almost halfway through the audiobook.
I've always wondered what it takes to fill this empty void inside. But now I've realized you were what I needed this whole.
I gave this book 3.75 stars. At the beginning, I really thought that this would be a 5-star read. I was so into it. I loved the plot. I loved the idea. I loved the execution. But then slowly over time, Christopher really got on my nerves because he was completely invalidating Hannah's feelings. He was taking Janie's side. He wasn't believing his wife. He was brushing off her concerns. He was being so ignorant. So I started not liking Christopher. Janie I didn't like either because I was very much team Hannah. But then slowly over time, Hannah started losing her grip on reality. I started to not like Hannah because she was becoming very paranoid. She wasn't trusting anyone. But then that meant that there were no characters in the book that I liked. I found the plot twist wasn't that shocking because I think by that point I wasn't super invested in the story. I didn't really like the ending, and I read a lot of reviews that said the same thing. It felt like there should be an epilogue. It was a bit disappointing. I didn't love the way that the story went, and I found that Janie being rude to Hannah was necessary in the story, but at the same time it just dragged on and on. I haven't been reading that much because I did start my full-time job again. I started this before The Perfect Child. I'm reading The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. I'm hoping to get in one more thriller. I just finished book number 5 in the Mortal Instruments series. I think I'm gonna choose another book audiobook format. I'm not sure what to read yet. Preferably something I don't have a physical copy of, because then I feel like it's a waste to get the audiobook but also have the physical book and not read the physical book.
I've been around. No one else has got me feeling this way. Every minute, every hour I spend is on you. Every single day, I've always wondered what it takes to feel.
Because I am sitting in traffic, I thought I could just update you guys on the family upstairs. I realized I haven't been talking a lot in this vlog. I get really depressed during winter seasons, and so it's dark and gloomy and cold. I just don't have the same motivation I do in the summer. It's a dual timeline story. So you have 3 POVs. You have Lucy with her 2 children in France. You have Henry who recounts the 1988 events, and then you have Libby, who is the youngest of the 3 children. They used to live in this very big mansion. Okay, this is confusing. There are just too many characters. The first POV is Henry's. So it starts out with Henry and Lucy as young children, and they're living with their mother and their father. In this household in 1988, you have the parents, Henry, Clemency / Lucy, and then you have Sally and David, you have Finn and his sister, then you have Bertie and Justin. So already, right off the bat, we're introduced to 11 characters. Basically, you see the deterioration of this household. So David and Bertie have an affair, and they take control over this house. So they have very strict rules. Like, you can only shower once a day, you can only eat these types of food. So it's a very tightly regulated house, cult-like vibes. Henry talks about the slow deterioration of their childhood, and then a baby comes along the way. The baby, I think, is set to inherit this whole house. And then you get Lucy's perspective, but she's older now. So Lucy now has 2 children. That baby is Libby. It's present timeline, which means that Libby is 25. That's when she gets her inheritance. She's visiting the home. So you see already how complicated it is. I can barely even begin to explain, because there are 14 characters in the story.
3 POVs, 2 different timelines going on. Everyone has their own story. Like, it's just way too much. I'm not enjoying it because I feel like it's way too cluttered. There are just way too many elements in it, way too much going on, way too many characters, and it's confusing as hell to the point where I don't even know some of their names. If you guys are visual learners and you want to read the story, I highly do not recommend the audiobook.
What it takes to fill this empty void inside. Something about ya makes me wanna be with you for a long time. Do ba do be do do be do 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 day. Do ba do be do.
I finished The Family Upstairs by Lisa Jewell. I have mixed feelings about this book. I ended up giving it 3 stars out of 5, which I think is actually quite a high rating. I was expecting to give it 2 stars. I realized I made a mistake. Clemency is not Lucy, Lucy is not Clemency. They are 2 completely different characters. Like I said before, you are introduced to Henry, you have Lucy, you have their mom and their dad, you have Sally, you have David, you have Finn, and you have Clemency. Then you have Justin, you have Birdie, that's in the house alone. And then you have... So that's 17 characters total that keep getting mentioned in the book. And for that reason, I just thought it was too much going on. There's 3 different POVs, 3 different stories, 3 different plots going on. But towards the end of the book, maybe after page 200, I did start to enjoy it more because all the characters started coming together and the story was starting to wrap up very nicely. It flowed very well. It made sense. The plot twist wasn't so shocking because I wasn't invested in the story, but I think it was a good plot twist. I really liked the direction that Lisa took with the story. The concept of it was actually very good, but just overall, the execution I didn't like as much. It would have been slightly better if I had read the physical book because I did listen to the audiobook for this. I'm a very visual person. I have another book by her, so I'll give her another try. But even in the other book, in the synopsis alone, we're introduced to, I think, 7 characters.
Cause baby, like, ooh, it's all another flower lane. The sun goes around the state. Can't wait for the long day. Cause baby, like, ooh, it's all another flower lane. The sun goes around the state. Can't wait for the long day.
Can we just talk about the flop level of this book? I love it.
The one you call, you got what I need.
Something about his writing is just so captivating. It's so factual. I'm like hooked. It's so good.
Always be turning my sky blue, but maybe I can't get to you. Why don't you come to stay? Cause baby, like, ooh, it's all another flower lane. The sun goes around the state. Can't wait for the long day. Cause baby, like, ooh, it's all another flower lane.
listening to a playlist on YouTube called A Playlist for Night Studies, Dark Academia, and I feel like it's perfect for this book. Although, not gonna lie, it gives me a bit of spooky vibes, especially now that I'm living on my own. It took me a really long time to get into this book because I kept reading 5 pages at a time every time I would pick this book up. Yesterday and today is the most I've read in a really long time. I want to say I've read over 200 pages. I started this book in October and it's been 2 months. It's getting really good. I just wanted to read a tiny bit, do some chores, and come back to reading. But I honestly don't think I'm going to be able to put this book down. I find it really easy to read in the sense that it doesn't feel like I'm reading words on a page. It was insane, that plot twist. Never saw it coming. And it was just so unexpected, but so effortlessly and seamlessly blended into the story that it was just all the more shocking. I gave it 4 stars because I didn't really like any of the characters, but I did really like the psychotherapy, notes, lessons. Thank you for watching today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed, had a good time, found some new recommendations or next reads. If you've read any of the books, then let me know. I can't speak in this house. If you've read any of the books in this video, leave your thoughts and opinions down below so we can have a discussion. I'll see you guys very soon in the next video. Bye!
'Cause baby, like, ooh.